All right. So I mentioned a bunch of times, I think, how a lot of man-made stuff ends up hurting us in the long run, has a really bad effect on, our health and our interactions, how we relate, how we live, how we treat the world. More and more, I'm starting to really think like it's like one-to-one. I'm trying to think of things that men have made that really are better than what God made in terms of us being able to do the things He wants us to do. So obviously writing and books are good, because that's, without the Bible, we wouldn't really know about God, or that wouldn't pass down. But then I don't know. So I don't know, just a point I'm trying to make. A lot, like most modern diseases, all these inflammatory conditions and the mysterious conditions that people have, chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia and all these kind of mystery diseases that are tough to diagnose, celiacs, gluten intolerance. I know a bunch of different people who've all had wildly different symptoms, cut gluten out of their diet, and then they were fine. I don't know if it's just modern gluten, the GMO wheat that people eat, that's the bad one, or if it's always been that way. I don't know. Or if it's just the combination of that plus all the other man-made stuff, the chemicals to make clean drinking water. But the reason the water has to be clean is because we live in these giant cities, and the sewers go right into the water systems. So basically, we have to clean the water that we dirtied. I don't know what the solution is. I'm just saying, this is just me observing and just, I guess, for my own thinking too. So it becomes like a heuristic, a rule of thumb that I can use. Helps me make decisions. Okay, is this, how long has this been around? Is this natural? And then, okay, like this food I'm about to eat, is this natural? How long has this been around? Did God make this, or did people make this? Is this super processed? Has this been bleached and vitamin fortified, or any of the other things that people do to try to recreate what God already created, but to make it more affordable, cheap, to prevent spoilage? So that's one, that's just one heuristic that I'm using to kind of work towards simplification. It really helps you just simplify. It's just okay, what should I eat this? If God made it, and it's been around for thousands of years, it's healthy, it's good, it's okay. Does it grow wild in quantities and in a form that doesn't take an excessive amount of processing? So things like beans, there's a lot of processing there. Rice, wheat, you have to do a lot of stuff to it to make it even edible, and then you know, an apple, even then, you know, the fruit that we eat nowadays doesn't really resemble the fruit that God put on the earth. So I don't know about that. A lot of the fruits and vegetables have been selectively bred by us for certain traits that we, you know, want. I'm nitpicking. You know, it's not... I make the distinction between, you know, I've said it many times, no matter what I eat, I'm not gonna live forever. But at the same time, I can't avoid all these... I feel like when you do things that in ways that God didn't intend, when you're taking alternative routes, routes that usually have to do with comfort or convenience or pleasure or, you know, status, power, routes that go that way tend to lead to negative consequences, long term. Short-term gain, long-term pain. Whereas the way God intended it, it's good right then. It's good right then, and there's no long-term consequences. Just live simply, simple diet, and you'll you know, you'll be on the narrow path. You won't be led astray. You know, eating myself. I'm getting better. I'm finding ways to not be pulled off dietarily into things that I know are not good for me. Every now and again, you know, I'll get tired or bored or just weak, you know, stressed or whatever, and my willpower will be low, and I'll go and I'll binge on something stupid that I always regret. I always regret it. I'm never like, wow, I'm really glad I ate, you know, 2/3 of that whole Reese's peanut butter pie. You know, half the time I throw away that last third. But man, those first, that, like, eating it, satisfying that craving, feels great in the minute, or that, yeah, in the moment. But then afterward, you know, there goes my energy. I sugar crash. And then, of course, I just regret it, because it's like, first of all, it's expensive. Like $15 for that pie. I always regret that. I regret just the eating of it. Then I feel, you know, well, whatever. I'm getting better at dealing with those cravings and stuff. I haven't done that in a while, which is good. But now, you know, and that's all it is. It's not about getting it perfect. It's just slowly steering yourself. So, like, there's a graph that you can look up. It's like, okay, every day if you improve by 1%, you know, the graph just slowly just goes, but then it's like compound interest, and eventually it's just like this steep curve. And then the opposite, you know, if you're declining by 1% every day, it's the same thing, and all of a sudden you just, so it's just moving the one way. I'll do this up, trying to move up a little bit every day instead of down. That's all. And then just not, you know, forgiving myself too, because I know I beat myself up. I beat myself up for it more than anybody else does. That weakness. I know I'm doing wrong, but then I have the awareness now, which I gained recently. And it keeps me humble because I realize that I screw up in these ways a lot. Every day I can find something where I wasn't, the ideal, the perfect. I wasn't doing that thing that I know in a perfect world I would be doing. But God still blesses me. I see it. I know He's there in weird ways. There's things I see, and it's just like, thank you, and that's the grace, and that's the mercy. That's the grace. I'm getting things that I don't deserve, and I'm not getting things I do deserve in terms of punishments and negative. So God's there. It's humbling. It is humbling when somebody forgives you. A parent, when you grow up and you realize that you weren't the best child, and yet your parents still loved you. They may not have loved you perfectly. They're a human parent, but they still loved you. So that's what it is. So just 1% every day, trying to get better, and trying to acknowledge and realize and appreciate God for still being there and being the perfectly loving parent He is, even when you don't deserve it, even when you do the things you don't. It's not something you. That's the humility aspect of it, because I don't know. If I didn't always give thanks, if I didn't have gratitude for that, I don't know if it would just go away. And I don't know how that works. I know I feel it more now. I have more of awareness, but I have my health. I have a lot of great things. Even before I was a Christian, even before I believed in a God, I still had a lot of things go my way in life. So He's always there, whether you know it or not, I think. It's just a matter of now I appreciate it. Appreciation is much greater. And now I get to share it. And hopefully people find this and get to pay it forward, share it. I want to see other people enjoy this. That'd be great. I don't know. Still working on things, kind of resetting. That vacation this week has been kind of a reset week for me. Getting back into the routine. Hopefully tonight, get to work on some stuff. And just, it's one of those things where I'm figuring out the framework, and then I just got to do the work. I just got to make the videos, make the worksheet, and then make the pages on my website, and just put it out there. And then, I think once I just have that, then it'll go quick. Just bing, bang, boom. We'll see. I always think that, though. That's my... I always assume things are going to go way quicker than they actually do. I've read things, you know, productivity, entrepreneurial type stuff, where there's just like, assume it's going to take 10 times as long, you know, than you think. Which right now, I think I could probably do it in 4 hours. So it'll probably take me 40 hours. Who knows? I'm just going along. I'm not trying to rush it. Not. In the past, I would have rushed it. I would have just tried to plug away and burn the candle at both ends, and I would have come out with something inauthentic, something not useful. Slowly getting there. God's leading me. I'm getting the breadcrumbs here and there, the insights, the steps as I need them. You know, He's not just going to give me it all laid out on a tablet. It's gotta come, and then I believe it at some point. You know, it has to come up from an authentic place in my heart. You know, if I'm trying to help people become good soil, to soften their heart, to deepen their knowledge, and to loosen their entanglements in this world, I have to authentically be able to do that. And then, honestly, to be good soil, you have to be able to love the person in front of you. And that's something I don't know if I can authentically teach somebody right now. I'm still working on that mindset shift of less about me and more about you. Never been that way, really. I have moments. Definitely have moments, and when I'm just kind of going through my day, I'm worried about all the things I feel I need to be doing. And I'm working on it, slowly but surely. God's giving me experiences that'll, you know, show me how to do that. Just recently had a big one. Even just talking about this now, it's bringing it into my attention and helping me look on the world with hopefully generous eyes. Excuse me. Understanding, soft heart to the struggles of others. That's all I can hope for, is to be able to help others, get them, share with them what I have. I have something. It's just a matter of, is it valuable to anybody else? Can anybody else, you know, benefit? I don't know. All right. God bless.